So, this is video number 4 in the series that we've been covering about the tier framework. Have you ever had a moment where you felt inspired to make a change, but somehow life got in the way and you didn't follow through? Today, we're going to talk about the missing link, and that missing link is aligned action. The main context of our video today is to talk about how you turn thoughts and emotions into reality by taking aligned action. I will show you how you can take your thoughts and the emotions you felt, which we have learned how to manage in the last video, and turn this into purposeful steps that bring you closer to the life you truly want. Now, a bit of a recap to let you know what we have covered so far and the direction in which we are going to be traveling. We have looked at thoughts, how thoughts lead to emotions, and how emotions, now we're looking at how that inspire actions. And as per our tier framework, we know that actions will produce results. When we look at thoughts, we look at how thoughts have to be reframed in order for it to empower us. And the way to do that is to first of all have an awareness of the thoughts that we're thinking about. One of the things we spoke about you doing is doing what they call a thought tracking exercise, where you have a journal and you track your thought on a day by day basis. You see a pattern in this thought, and after you find a pattern, you think of a framework that you can use to reframe that thought in such a way that it will empower you. I call this pattern disruptors. You disrupt the pattern so that you can take action that will lead you in the right way. Once you've reframed your thought, you move on into emotional management. Managing your emotion, we spoke about 5 tools that you can use to manage your emotion. One of such is visualization, mindfulness. I spoke about meditation, and also deep breathing, prayers, or speaking in tongues. Essentially a form of affirmation as well that you can do. We saw how Alex used these tools to shift his mindset and manage his emotions effectively, while Jordan remained stuck in old patterns. But awareness, reframing, and emotional mastery are only part of the journey. To create real change, we need to take action. I want you to write that down. To create real change, we must take action. What kind of action? Actions that are aligned with our new beliefs and goals. So today, let's talk about how to take those empowered thoughts and emotions and turn them into actions that drive meaningful progress. What is an aligned action? Before I explain this, I want to tell you something that my mentor, Jack Canfield, told me in one of the sessions we had. He spoke about things called inspired action. Essentially, he was saying, if you set a goal and you're managing your thoughts, all of a sudden you have this inspiration to do something. It might be maybe you're watching something or somebody spoke to you. You had this impression, like an urgency in your spirit to do something. Don't ignore that. Work on that action, because that action is actually taking you in the direction of where you need to go. Without action, you cannot have results. Now remember, I spoke in the other videos about actions could be external, but it could also be internal. Let me give you an example. An internal action is a decision you make on the inside of you to say, I am not going to do X, Y, and Z, or I'm going to take this thought captive. or I'm going to reframe this thought and bring it to the viewpoint of the way God sees things or what God has declared over my life. That's an action you are taking, but it's an internal action. The other action you could take is maybe book a class, go on a coaching course, or take a driving lesson, and so on and so forth. Those are external actions that you could take. So, but whether it is internal or external action, actions lead to results. So what we want to do now is align action means taking steps that are in sync with our new positive beliefs and managed emotions. It's about choosing actions that support the version of ourselves that we want to become and the life we want to create. One of the exercises that I've been exposed to is about painting a picture of this future and stepping into it like you're wearing a cloth. In one of my books, the book called Invaluable, it's a 1 year devotional that is just about being released as at the time of this recording. One of the actions there was a scripture that talks about Joshua the high priest, who was presented before God wearing filthy garments. And in that book, I mentioned before that the devil was accusing Joshua, who was the high priest at that time. But the Lord God rebuked Satan and said, the Lord has already made Joshua to be holy and righteous. Therefore, what does that have to do with you? One of the things I said in my book was, every single time thoughts come to your mind that want to undermine who you are or what God has declared you to be, you need to remember that God has given you a new robe. It's called the robe of righteousness. And every morning you have to choose to wear that robe. You have to make a decision to enter and wear that robe. Enter into yourself and wear that robe, as it were. So when we talk about aligned action, we're talking about taking action that will resonate with who you want to become. The outcome you seek to create, you assume it has already been created already, and you take actions now like it has already happened. Let me also rephrase this in a different way. When we talk about faith, Book of Hebrews chapter 11 verse 1 says, faith is a substance of things hoped for. Faith is a substance of things hoped for, which means faith gives substance, gives credence, gives credibility, gives tangibility to things that we hope for. Now, the word hope in biblical terms means confident expectation of good, which means when you are hopeful, it has not materialized physically yet, but you have seen it in your mind's eye that it has already happened. So faith gives substance, significance, tangibility to that which we expect to happen in the future. So when we are talking about you taking actions that align with the future self you want to see, you are going to be taking action as if that thing which you hope for has already happened. For example, if you have reframed the thought, I am not capable, into I am always learning and improving, an aligned action that you can do in that case is, for example, sign up to a class, volunteering for a project, or practicing a new skill. I want you to think of inspired action like a bridge between your intentions and your reality. When you think of the concept of TEAR, T-E-A-R, you have T on the left side, you have R on the right side. In between T and R, you have two letters, E and A. One is emotions and the other one is action. So the emotions and the actions actually are bridges that lead your thoughts into reality. We have spoken about emotions, how you manage emotions. Now we want to look at the other bridge called action. The bridge of action is that which links your intention, what you want to do based on the thoughts you've thought and the desires of your heart, and what you actually see on the other side of reality. Every aligned action brings you one step closer to the goals that you have set for yourself. So now let's take a look at how to identify and take these aligned actions in your own life. The best aligned actions are small, they are specific, they are meaningful. Start by asking yourself, what is one action that I can take today that will support my goal? It doesn't have to be a huge step, it could be small, but it has to be consistent, because small and consistent actions do add up over time. Let's take an example. If your goal is to build confidence, an aligned action might be speaking up in a meeting or sharing an idea with a friend. If you want to improve your health, an aligned action will be drinking a glass of water before each meal or going for a 10-minute walk. Now, what I want you to do is take a moment, write down one goal you have right now. It might be to make £10,000 a month, it might be to lose weight, it might be to have good grades in your school, it might be to get married. Write that goal down. Be specific about this one goal that you're trying to achieve. Now write down one action, one small action that you can take today that aligns with that goal. Keep it simple but intentional. Aligned actions don't have to be big, they just need to be consistent. I will repeat that. Aligned actions don't have to be big, they just need to be consistent. Let's talk about how now you can keep yourself on track. One of the greatest challenges that we all face is our ability to be consistent. I spoke about perseverance in the previous video, which lent itself now to this one. How can I consistently show up to do the things that are important when I feel tired? How many of you have started an exercise regime and you basically couldn't continue? It's because we didn't have consistent action. How do we therefore begin to keep ourselves on track based on what we say we are going to do and the actions we are meant to take on a daily basis? To take consistent action, that is the one thing that takes small steps into real progress. One way to stay consistent is to focus on what we call micro actions. Yes, micro actions are small, manageable tasks that are easy to complete but still move you forward. For example, instead of setting a goal to exercise for an hour every day, start with 5 minutes. These small steps are easier to maintain, easier to build momentum around, and to reinforce the belief that you are capable of making progress. When I was trying recently to build a habit of exercising, I didn't bother to do 1 hour because that's what I used to do before. Then I'll fail, I will not get it done, I will say, oh, this is not working. What I decided to do was to show up just to 5 minutes, keep my heart moving. I know a friend of mine who likes walking, walks every day. I'm sure at the beginning when he started, he didn't enjoy it. But after a while, because of consistency, doing the same thing at the same time, what happens now is your body begins to expect it to happen at the same time. One of the ways to build consistency is to choose to do the same thing at the same time every single day. So let's suppose you want to lose weight and you made a decision to eat a particular type of meal on a particular day at a particular time. By sticking to that schedule where you show up every day at that particular time to do that which you say you're going to do, if you can keep it up for 21 days, it begins to become a habit. So, what are the tips that I want to share with you to create consistency in working towards your goal? I share with you 3 things. Number 1, Set a daily intention. Each morning, decide on one small action that aligns with your goal. Write it down and say it out loud to commit. Why do we need to say it out loud? Because it is proven that what you say out with your own mouth influences your heart. The Bible says in the book of James, it says, your mouth is the smallest part of your body, but your mouth can put your whole life on fire. So the Bible then says that if you think you are religious, you go to church, you do all the great things you do, but you cannot control your tongue, the Bible says your tongue will deceive your heart. Which means if you allow your tongue to be loose, you got loose tongues. Have you ever heard the saying, loose tongues sink ship? Loose tongues sink ships. But guess what ship it will sink first? It is your own ship. So when you have the habit of just saying words and speaking words without controlling your tongue, you are actually going to end up deceiving your own heart. So when we say make a decision of what you want to do that aligns with your goal, it doesn't have to be big goals. Remember, micro actions, right? Say it out loud so that you can commit. Why? Because by hearing it, by hearing your own voice speak, your heart begins to believe. Number 2, track your progress. Have you heard the saying that says, what is not measured cannot be changed? How do you know you are making progress if you never measure it? So tracking your progress allows you to build habit. So consider using a habit tracker or a checklist to monitor your actions each day. This creates accountability and helps you to see the progress you are making. My career was and still is a project manager or a project director. I run projects and programs for FTSE 500 companies. And one of the key things you do as somebody who manages project is to track progress. Why do we need to track progress? Because if we don't track progress, we don't know how much work is left to be done and how well we are behaving. Now, why is progress important? Because when you track progress, then all of a sudden you will know, oh, we're almost there. Oh, we're 5% behind. Oh, we're 10 days behind. Oh, we don't have enough money. That allows you then to be able to take corrective actions, to be able to fix anything that's about to go wrong. You need to take your own life like a project and track the progress that you are making. So get a habit tracker or a journal that you can use to monitor your actions every day. One of the things I started to do is to have a small jotter like this, and I write down what I'm going to do the next day, the night before. I write them down and I find out that when I do that, I'm actually more productive the next day because I'm able to cross things over. One of the things that I've done is I created a timetable, like on a book, that manages my time. That says, okay, 9 o'clock I'm going to do this, 10 o'clock I'm going to do that. And like that, it helps me to manage my time very well, which means I don't spend time on calls that are not profitable. I don't waste my time doing things that are not adding value to what I needed to achieve that day. Give it a go. Try that. Try a way in which you can track your own progress on a daily basis. It will surprise you how much more precious your time will be and what you can do with what you have. The last point I want to make here is celebrate small wins. Acknowledge each action you take, no matter how small. Why do we celebrate progress? Because when we celebrate progress that we are making, it gives us morale booster. It gives us motivation to keep us moving forward. You think about it. In schools, maybe when you're in secondary school or you're in primary school, I went to a school where at the end of each term, they will call you out. They will say the best student is so and so. The best student is so and so. And you come out, you come and take your award, and you go back to the assembly line, and we look forward to that day when you're going to get an award. It serves as morale booster, motivation to keep moving forward. You imagine a world where There are no prizes for creativity. There are no prizes to be won for job well done. People will lose motivation. The other day I was watching the US Olympics sprint, and between the US guys and the Jamaican guys, a lot of competition between the two of them, and they always look forward to, receiving that Olympic gold, and that's what motivates them to keep moving forward. Without a motivation that we get that shows that we're making progress, then we will not. We will just think, hey, it doesn't matter, what am I doing anyway? So when you consistently take micro actions, you'll find that progress happens naturally. So now let's take a look at Alex and how Alex used aligned actions to create change. Alex and Jordan. After working on his mindset and managing his emotions, Alex started to identify small aligned actions that he could take. He decided to speak up. He decided to speak up once in every meeting. He made a decision. In every meeting, I will speak once, even if it was just to ask a question or share a quick idea. These small actions built his confidence, and soon his manager started to notice his willingness to contribute. He began taking on more responsibilities, and before you know it, he was being considered for a leadership role. Meanwhile, Jordan, who hadn't been working on his mindset, continued to avoid taking risks. Without aligned action, he stayed in the same place, missing out on opportunities. Aligned actions don't have to be big, my friend, but they do need to be intentional. So let's make this part of our daily routine. For the next 7 days, this is what I want you to do. Commit to take one small aligned action each day. Start with something manageable that aligns with a goal that you have. This could be as simple as reading one page of a book, drinking a glass of water, or speaking up once in a conversation. Each day, write down what action you took, and at the end of the week, look back and notice the small steps you have taken. When you write this down in a journal, let's say you take action on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, when you look back on Sunday and look about all the things you've done that week, you will be proud of yourself. You'll be proud of the fact that you are making progress no matter how small. And remember what I said earlier, that feedback loop, that motivation that we get, that kickback joy feeling that we get because we're making progress, will now propel us to take more aligned actions and keep us moving forward towards our goal. If your goal is to feel more confident, an aligned action could be as simple as holding eye contact or smiling when you meet someone. These actions may seem small, but over time, they build the foundation for real growth. Aligned action is a habit that grows stronger and stronger with practice. Next, let's explore how to make these actions even more effective through habit formation. What I want you to do now is try the aligned action challenge that I mentioned earlier. That is the action you take for the next 7 days. Commit to one small action each day for the next week. What I want you to do now is, as you take this action, maybe you might want to come back to this video, drop a comment below, sharing the action you have committed to or you are committing to. I would like to hear how well you are working towards these actions and what you plan to do. In the next video, I'll focus on building lasting habits. Remember, these actions you've started to take that you're going to do for the next 7 days. The whole idea behind this action is to make it a habit. So we want to make sure we build habits that support your goal so that you can make aligned action a natural part of your life. I will see you on the other video.